Um, but this isn't something that's formal. I just wanted to quickly talk over my work for the past 10 weeks. So, on this wide screen of Miro, you can see quite a lot of shots. This is the absolute burn pile. Um, these images just aren't resonating with me right now. The ones of the buildings, I don't really feel like they have a place because the buildings aren't as important as the landscape or the images of AG and I. And then there's some like the snow pictures, which maybe there are stronger images then. And the thing is, with these images you're seeing, this isn't everything I've shot. Um, Obviously, there's with photographing a relationship and our time apart, there are absolutely hundreds of pictures I'm shooting every day when we're away from each other or when we're together. So what's here is just what's made it through the sieving out and what I think best communicates a story. I don't think I'm probably ever going to show the full contact sheets of everything because it would take so long to talk about everything, and it's time that nobody really has. I don't have to do it, and I don't think anybody has the time to sit through it and listen to me talk about every picture I've ever taken from my time with AG. So these are on the screen right now, are on a maybe pile. There's two pictures of me, which I kind of want to put some of her work in there. I liked these two because you got me driving. It's her how she sees me from the passenger seat, where we actually spend quite a lot of time together, and it's the work is about the journey and the travel between me and her. Maybe this picture would be better suited just as an afterthought, an after note, reflecting back on the work. You've got one of me looking vulnerable in my bedroom. Um, Only really how she sees me, nude. Then you've got the tunnel of the road between us. Um, some landscapes of her hometown. The shadows of us laid in bed. The shadows of nature. And some more pictures of her from our time together. What I'm most interested in speaking about today, however, is the current sequencing of images that I'm really happy with, which is in front of us right now. So, what I've started with here is I've put her a portrait of AG first, where she's wearing a mask and she's got the mountains and the lake behind her. What I wanted to do with this was give an indication of time, and I think this pandemic's going to be very remembered for the mask wearing. I think in years to come, when this picture will be seen, it'll be, yes, this picture was from 2020, 2021 during the COVID pandemic. And I also want to give a hint of the location and the journey, travel, and the power and force of nature with the mountains behind her. We move across into the picture of the hand and the mountains, where with these I was looking for the similarity in the shape and form, in the lines and the curves and the cold whiteness, the emptiness, the vacant space. And this became a theme for the next few images, where we see AG's back and the snowy Moaksan mountain. I think these two pair really nicely as a mirroring of the arcs and shapes of AG's back and the mountains. And again, with this third set of the empty bed, and it shows a space left behind and the divide in the bed, as well as the divide between her home in Damyang and mine in Jeonju. And then this image is from a solo hike, where the fog divided the mountain from the sky set perfectly, and we can get the idea of the time apart and the divide once again. These images, they carry on this theme of the emptiness, the solitude, the loneliness, the ambiguity, and um, the space between us. So obviously with the narrative, I'm trying to lead people on this journey and take them on a trip with us. So there's these visual cues of the tunnel. Sorry, I'm not sleeping well at the minute, so I'm pretty tired, pretty yawny. But yeah, I'm looking with these images of communicating about the divide and the distance between us, and the tunnel is a transition of time for me. But also, when somebody's looking at this, they're going to be feeling this as well. Okay, um, we're going through this tunnel as well. We're going through the tunnel of images. And with these two for the parent, I was looking at the similar lines and the colour transition along with the seasonal transition between December and spring. With this one, this is taken in AG's home of Damyang. Damyang is very well known for its bamboo forest, and it kind of gives a subtle hint of Asia, gives us that bit of an idea of place and where we are, what's going on. These are some quite recent images. Once again, of fog breaking off a mountain from our time apart. This is a mountain near a city called Jongnam, which it's about 3/4 of the way between AG and I. At this time, we were going a few weeks away from each other, and it was pretty difficult for me to be so far away from her. And finally, being reunited, me and her laid in bed together, and there's this kind of similarity between how much of her back occupies the frame as opposed to the white, and with the top of the trees and the white of the sky. So next to this, we have a picture of AG stood alone in front of a tree. This is just about spring breaking through, and you've got this tree coming into life, and the death of winter very visible still in the background. And you've got this big space between me and her in this picture, which is different to the other pictures where I'm much closer to her. It's much more personal, intimate. Kind of plays on this idea of the boundaries and what's going on between me and her. And this is a recent picture that I love. I'm not quite sure if it works yet, but I really like this one, even if it's a standalone image. But it's near my workplace, and just one morning I was driving around and I saw this dog, this poor dog, just chained up outside some farmland, and it's this idea of solitude and being alone, and even though there's these people around me and the dog, we're still disconnected and we're still kind of imprisoned in our own way to solitary confinement. And along with this bottom row, I decided to go back to the triptychs again. So Korea has the phenomena of cherry blossom, and it's this time where you kind of spend 11 months waiting for this cherry blossom to come, and then it comes, and it's this beautiful event that flickers by within 2 or 3 weeks, and it's gone again for another year. And I really found this relatable with our own story of, I'm waiting all this time to go to see her, and going to work and coming home, and finally when I get to see her, it's this little beautiful glimpse of time together, and then it's gone again. And it's just clinging on to something, holding on to it. Wasn't what can't last. It can't be. I can't hold on to it physically, just only in memory. And in between these, you've got the car seat. I thought the blues paired up well um, with the cherry blossom, and it kind of stops you. It kind of breaks the cycle between the blossoms having this there, and this was a game from our time apart. And the way the seatbelt is fastened, this isn't something I did. This is something AG showed me from her childhood, where her dad showed her if you leave the seatbelt like this, you can kind of slide under it again. And she kind of left it in a sweet way to remind me of her, but for me, it's a double reminder of the absence of her, and kind of reminded me of when you see a crime scene and it's got the white tape around where somebody was. This fastened seatbelt of emptiness is kind of like someone was here, but they're not there, and what happened? Why aren't they there? Why is it like this? Um, Here we've got just some weeds growing through from the edge of the rocks, and this was actually taken next to the cherry blossoms, where I should have been facing cherry blossoms, capturing their beauty. I was kind of caught up in this everyday sublime of these weeds breaking through these rocks, and this kind of divide where the land is meeting the water, and there's this bit of uncleanness, a bit of lack of clarity in the water. It's a bit distorted and a bit jarring, and it's definitely something I relate to with my personal life. There's a lot of jarring with how I'm feeling and the murkiness and ambiguity that I wake up with every day when we're apart. And with these, this is from Valentine's Day. I was on the left. We've got the flowers that I just bought her, and on the right is the flowers being prepared, and it's just looking for the beauty in the mundane, and in her absence, keeping my heart warm, I guess, in a kind of cringy cliche way. But instead of just searching for happiness with her, I've got to keep it going on my own as well, and look for the beauty and keep finding sparks of joy. And to finish, we've got the dark roads as I'm driving home, and I think this darkness and the light beaming down from my car is kind of feels like the end of the journey, which ties up nicely to lead into a final picture of her, which serves as bookends for each other. From the top left of her to the bottom right of her, and once again we've got this repetition of water and mountains, and her bang on in the middle of the frame. Yeah, I'm happy with how this set's coming together. Tonight I'll be talking about my work with my peers, and I'm hoping to get some good feedback from them.